everyone, and welcome for joining us for today's ISACA podcast. My name is Jocelyn Alcantar. I am an event coordinator here with ISACA. Today we have a very special guest who was our host for the Latin America Conference in 2022. And he is an electronic and communications engineer at Audit Alliance. I'd like to welcome Arnulfo Espinosa Dominguez. Arnulfo, how are you doing today?
Hello, Jocelyn. I'm fine, and I'm really glad to have the opportunity to share with you and with all our colleagues here in ISACA.
So thank you for joining us, Arnulfo. Let's introduce you to our audience. Can you tell me a little bit about your background, where you come from, your education path, and what you do professionally?
Hello, Jocelyn. Yeah, I'm very glad to be here. I am from Mexico, from Monterrey, Mexico, a city that is known as the industrial capital of Mexico. Monterrey is a city of 6 million of people, approximately, and is located about 200 kilometers with the border with Texas. I studied electronic and communications engineering, but I never pursued that career. I work more in the systems or IT sides. Currently, I have several assignments. I am IT audit and fraud director of one of the main financial groups in Mexico. I am vice president at ISACA Monterrey chapter. I am accredited instructor for several ISACA certifications. I am professor of different universities in Mexico. I am an independent advisor in several cybersecurity compliance, risk, and audit committees. I am president in Kuyers Alliance, and I am ISACA International Evangelist, and I am globally known as the AudiTHOR.
It's a pleasure having you here with us today. Thank you so much. Obviously, as kids, we always have a different idea of what we want to be when we grow up. What did you want to be when you grew up?
Yeah, I recently heard about a celebrity that responded that question, and I am actually related to the answer that this guy gives. They asked him the same question, and he replied, "When I grew up, I wanted to be handsome." So I wanted to be handsome too, although I think I didn't make it, right? So the truth
That's not true.
Thank you. The truth behind that is that what I want to be when I grow up, I wanted to be a doctor, a medicine doctor. But
okay.
I quickly understood that being a doctor comes with a lot of responsibilities. I realized if I made a mistake in that profession, or I do some kind of wrong thing, or if something went wrong, a person could be hurt or even die. So I decided to fix computers instead of that. And that is something, and in that way, if something went wrong with the computers, only the computer will fail, right? But nobody will be hurt in that scenario. But you know what? Right now, with the OT technologies, the operational technology, that has already changed, right? That kind of technology could put in danger a lot of people. So I have to keep preparing myself so nobody gets hurt, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So basically, you made computers your patients versus humans.
Yeah.
So despite coming from a small town, you became a professional at an international level. Who are your biggest supporters throughout this journey?
All right. First, let me tell you that studying in whatever university you study, even if that university is big, small, expensive, or cheap, is not a determining factor for you to have a professional career. What I mean is that university gives you a paper or allows you to comply with some procedure or paperwork that gives you an opportunity to work somewhere, right? But by the way, that is becoming a well-known discussion right now, because there's a lot of companies that right now presumes that many of their employees are not graduated, right? So anyway, once someone gives you an opportunity, or you create your own opportunity, if you are an entrepreneur, it's your turn to show and prove your skills and hard work in that professional field. My biggest support in my professional career was my family, of course, my mentors, and those who give me or believe in me and give me my first opportunity to have a job. And ISACA, of course, because ISACA give me the globally recognized credentials in several specialties. I can say that because I can say that I am an engineer from maybe or perhaps the worst of the better university in Mexico. But if I ask someone of the world if they know that university, it's very likely that they don't know it. They don't know that university. Therefore, it is probably that I am only a recognized engineer in Mexico, but only in that country or in the country where I study. But if I am a CISA certified professional, my friend, I am CISA in Mexico, in United States, in Europe, and everywhere. That is a very good support, and it's a very important thing that we all professionals need to have in this globally world.
Yes, absolutely. So ISACA being a global organization has helped you out a lot. And I hope that your mentors as well as your family are very proud of you and all your accomplishments. Do you remember a moment where it clicked that you were to become a cybersecurity professional?
That is a good one. But yeah, I think that I remember that moment. That moment was when I saw my brother-in-law first computer. You know, those huge machines that made a lot of noise when they start up. And
yes,
that
I remember those well.
Yeah, and that machine even told you when it was safe to turn it off, right? So
right.
I remember one day he took his computer to his house and he let me to play, quote unquote, to play it with it, use it. And he asked me to teach him how to play the games that was in the computer. Now I know that of course he already know how to play that games in that computer, but that the thing that he wanted to do is that he wanted me to lose the fear and to learn how to use that computers. That was a very new thing in that time. From then on, I started to use that computer a lot. I installed and uninstalled a lot of things in that. I use it and abuse it of that PC. There was and there was a point when I became really good at it. I mean, I can take apart that computer, I can repair it, etc. Since then, a lot of my relatives began to ask me to help them to repair their computers, and I was happy because I was able to do that and to play with a lot of that equipment. One of my relatives had the habit to saving everything in that time. I think I'm talking about the 90s. I had a relative that had the habit of saving everything of his information in one computer, and he saves a lot of notes like a diary or something like that. And there was a time when he lost all that information because of failure of the computer. I don't remember if it was a malware or if it was some kind of hardware error of his computer. But he told me that the thing that hurts him the most of that loss of information, it was not the computer itself. Even even taking in account that computers in that time was very expensive, that was not the thing that he was concerned about it. The main thing that he was very worried about it and hurt him a lot was that he was storing in that computer a lot of notes that he wrote and was keeping there with phrases of his mother. His mother in that time was passed away since a long time ago, and he was very sad about it because he lost all that important information for him. That is when I understood the importance of IT for the people and for the companies. And I knew that I want to help, and I want to help that relative that was one of my familiars, and I wanted to make sure that no one else suffers that thing that he suffered. So I think that was the beginning of the origins of the AudiTHOR, right?
Yeah, that's amazing, and I hope he was able to recover, that information that he
No,
lost.
he didn't recover all his information, but he understood the importance of have some secure controls to back up that information in the computers. We didn't have that kind of awareness in that time.
Yeah, and I'm sure he, learned that from that experience. How old would you say you were when this all
I
happened?
think that I was like 13 or 14 years old.
Wow, so you were putting together computers and, uninstalling things and installing things even at that age.
Yeah, I,
Yeah.
I I think that because I really like a lot how that how that computer has a lot of programs and games there.
Yeah, a lot that goes into computers, a lot that I don't even know.
Yeah.
So, how would you say that your mom would explain what you do?
My mom. So that is a very simple question, Jocelyn. She will say that I am very intelligent, handsome, and tall guy. Yeah,
Of
I'm pretty sure
course,
that
yeah.
yeah, like all the mothers. And that when I was born, I weighed a lot of kilograms. Yeah, and I had very good cheeks. So and he also will tell you that I like to study a lot, and I like a lot the Ninja Turtles. That
Oh,
Teenage
okay.
Mutant Ninja Turtles. Yeah, I am a fan. So he also will tell you that she doesn't know what I do. Yeah, she doesn't know what I do for a living, but she knows that I like a lot what I do and that I'm very good at it. Good at it. So,
Oh,
and
that's
believe
great.
me, it's not his fault that she doesn't know what I do. Ask whoever you like what an IT auditor do, and they will told you a lot of different things. Things like, oh, all right, so you are an IT auditor, yeah. So you count computer, right? Count computers. So yeah, sometimes because I have to, check the license things there, but it's not the only thing that I do. All right. So and if you ask some other person, all right, so you are a cybersecurity specialist, right? I know what you do. You are a hacker. Yeah. So please hack the account of my friend, my girlfriend, partner, or whatever. Help me. Oh man, my God, we are not the guys that do only that, right? And
Right,
all right, so
absolutely.
yeah, but the thing that I'm pretty sure about it is that my mom always supports me in the things that I do, and that he is very glad to see me doing the things that I like. I send the keys to my mom. She always supports me in all the crazy things that I do.
That's wonderful. I love that. And I also send your mom what greetings as well.
Thank you.
What has been the most significant turning point in your career?
All right, this is a difficult one because I think that I had several turning points in my career. I will try to name a few, and I hope one of them is the most important. I'm pretty sure that a few of them is very important. I think that the first one is my first job opportunity. That is a very important moment in my career because I decided in that moment that I will be pursuing the IT or systems sides of my career. My incorporation to ISACA as a volunteer, I think that is a very important point in my career. Obtaining my first certifications of ISACA, that is also a very important point in my career, but because it gave me a lot of credibility and opens a lot of opportunities in my career. Uh, I will say that another turning point in my career is the rise of the appearance of the auditor character, and my induction to the ISACA Hall of Fame. That was a really awesome moment in my career, and I think that is a very important, the most important point in my career.
That's amazing. To list some of your certifications, we have CISA, CISM, CRISC, CDIPSI, and more. Wow, that's a lot. How did you prepare for these exams?
Yeah. I will say that I prepared to that exams with many hours and effort. I always tell to my colleagues and the candidates for these certifications when they ask me how is it that I know a lot about of different concepts of how did I do to remember a lot of things. So I always tell them that in my case, I am not a genius. I am not a guy who has a photographic memory or anything like that. But I do have a strong discipline to study. I know there are those who support and those who don't support those who don't support in relation to obtaining the certifications. I mean, guys who supports who has the certifications and who doesn't believe in that. And I am the guys who supports to have certifications, because each one of them has forced me, quote unquote, to learn and understand concepts that most of them is very likely that I will not address or learn about them, and just at the level of just working around of those concepts. I mean, what I'm trying to say is that every time that I prepare for a certification, I am obligated, or quote unquote, I obligated myself to learn a lot of new concepts that is very likely that in my working career or my working things I didn't learn about it.
So Arnulfo, how have these certifications helped your career?
Yeah, in fact, as I mentioned it before, these certifications were a key turning point to my career. They gave me the knowledge, the confidence, and credibility in my work. And in addition, these certifications give me recognition around the world, not only in Mexico, regarding to some kind of to some specialty. And this kind of thing helped me to open a lot of doors and have a lot of opportunities in my professional career.
So what do you feel is a myth or a misconception that a lot of people have when it comes to your profession?
I think that there are several of them. In fact, there are many of myths related to our profession. One of those myths is that we as an expert, we as a person that works in IT or systems, we are like experts in fixing computers. I mean, like technical support, like the guys from technical support that repairs all the computers. And I can assure you that there are several of my colleagues who are going to see this podcast that will identify with the fact that when our friends, our relatives knows that we work in IT, they wanted to ask to us to fix their computers. You know, hey Arnulfo, you are working in systems? Yeah, can you fix my computer? You know, I'm not working in that field, man. So another thing or another myth that exists is that we are something like know it all persons, you know, and therefore we are like experts in every discipline or cybersecurity. There are so many specialties in cybersecurity, like secure coding, firewall configuration, policy developments, regulations, pen testing, threat hunting, IRP, DCP, and all acronyms in the world. You know, I can tell you that cybersecurity is some kind of new discipline. You know, this career, it only has something like 70-year-olds. You know, is not compared to other more mature careers, in which is very understood that there are different specialties for those careers, like the medicine one or from the doctors. You know, there are very different kind of doctors and specialties about it. Let's compare medicine with that it has a lot of years that career exists. You know, how many years do you think that medicine exists? Like, I don't know, more than 2,000 years, right? And if you think about cybersecurity, you were thinking that if cybersecurity is related to protect information in a digital state or in electronic format, you have to think about it since when the electronic information exists, and you will identify that information start to exist like in the 50s, right? So we have a career of only 70 years old of existence. So there is a long way. There is a long way. There is a lot of things that we have to do to learn about that new quote unquote career where there is going to be a lot of specialties. There are right now a lot of specialties, and we have to instruct the world that like in the medicine, there is a lot of specialties in cybersecurity, and there is not exist only one professional that knows all these kinds of process and things, right?
Yeah, absolutely. As we've seen in this industry and technology, always evolving and changing, especially nowadays. So, gotta make sure that we stay on top of all those. Arnulfo, your accomplishments are something to be admired. You've been a keynote speaker, an accredited trainer. You're even very involved in the Monterrey chapter. How do you find the time?
Yeah, the truth is that I didn't realize when I got so much involved in these activities, but I have done it, right? And I guess I never knew or realized it because I was doing something, because in that time and all the time that where I was working in these activities, I was doing something that I liked, and therefore I was never it was never a burden for me or to do or something extra. It was never a burden for me to do something extra, I like teaching a class or advising someone or participating in a new assignment. I have always been glad to be participating in all these extra quote unquote activities. What I do know is that this is precisely the key. Although maybe it sounds trivial or generic, you must do something that you are very passionate about it, and something that you like so much to do it that you not feel that you are working. That kind of things will allow you to spend a Saturday night preparing for a presentation, and it will allow you or prepare you to be working 4 hours in a plane studying for a lecture in a conference. It will give you the power, it will give you the power, so you can be in your hotel room in Punta Cana, with the beach outside, attending to your pending work and doing some fine tuning to your conference that you are going to lecture in the next day. That is the things that you need to do, and that is what it takes to get involved in all these activities and have all the benefits related to.
Yeah, that's very true. And I've heard that way too many times where if you're passionate about what you do, you won't be working a day in your life, right? Arnulfo, do you have any suggestions for the up and coming generation of cybersecurity leaders on how to get involved? And do you have any advice for them?
Yeah, definitely. I will say a couple of them. The first one is the one that I consider the most important one, and is towards professional networking. Throughout my professional career, this is what it helped me the most. In fact, I have always commented to all the people that I always said that all the people that I had the pleasure of hiring, to work for in a team where I am leading, all of them had one characteristic, one particular one, and you will ask yourself, which is that characteristic that Arnulfo is saying? You can say things about the attitude, the attitude, and and things related to their technical skills, and to know the things about the profile that I am looking, but I'm not referring to that kind of things. I'm referring to one particular characteristic that all those people had, and that characteristic is that someone knew them, someone recommended that people to me. Those persons, and some people recommended all these persons for me, and the thing that is most used, or I will say that one of the things that you can do to be recognized, and that you have a lot of connection, and because of that, a lot of people can talk about you or can recommend you for another jobs, is to be in a spotlight, that the one that ISACA gave to us, to participate in different kind of events, to lecture in some kind of events. And if you do that, you will get one of the main benefits to participate and be volunteer in one associations like ISACA, and it will give you a lot of opportunities in your professional career. In fact, when I am talking about networking, I always say that networking or professional networking is important, because the important thing, because I said always that the important thing is not always to know everything, but to have the telephone number of the one who knows something, right? That is a very important thing that we need to learn and to apply in our professional careers. The other thing that I will say that is very important about it, and I will say it 3 times, and I will say it to myself too, because I am working hard on that one, is learn English, learn English, learn English. That is one of the most important things that you have to do in your professional career. Considering that we are working in a very dynamic profession where most of the reference material that exists are or the newest one are always in English. So the least thing that we must do is at least learn English, at least learn English at the read level. You at least need to have the ability to read English at least. But if you get the fluency necessary to speak English, you will have a lot of opportunities, not only in your country but in the world. It's one of the most universal languages that is spoken around the globe. And the other thing that I can recommend to this new generation of professionals is to learn to explain easy things that are difficult to understand. You have to become masters in the use of analogies. The best way to explain, there is no better way to explain the complex things of the IT world, of the IT environment, of the abstract things that we need the abstract things that are related to the IT world. There is no better way to explain that using analogies. You will be able to speak IT language to whoever that doesn't speak that kind of languages. You asked me also about which recommendations can I give to the new generations to get involved in ISACA. One of the main things that I can recommend to the new generation is to identify where your chapter the chapter in your city is. There's a lot of the ISACA chapters in different cities in the world. So one of the things that I can recommend to these new generations is to approach or contact these persons that are working in these ISACA chapters, and that get involved in that chapter in any kind of activities as a volunteer. I started my career in ISACA as a volunteer, carrying things, helping in things, bringing things to make some events, to help the speakers when they need something. That is where I started my career. So and after that, I had the possibility to know a lot of people that gave me a lot of opportunities. Then I had the opportunity to have some different positions in ISACA, and then I had and after all that process where I was working as a volunteer in ISACA, helped me to get to this point where I am right now, presenting in this awesome podcast with you, Jocelyn.
That's wonderful. And like you said, it's not always what you know, but it's who you know. So that it wraps it up perfectly.
That is a better word to say it. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And I want to applaud you as well for also knowing English and taking on, a second language. Can you share your favorite productivity hack on how you stay on top of your busy schedule?
Yeah, of course. I think that is a very basic one, but a really strong one. I have a to-do list. In this list, I have classified different pending tasks that I have, and I have 3 main categories. I am remembering right now. I have 3 main categories there. The personal things that I have to do, the things related to my work, and things related to ISACA. Wow. Right now, I am realizing that I have a whole classification or a whole category for ISACA things. That is the kind of passion that we as a volunteers needs to have to get involved a lot in a lot of our activities and had time to attend to all these to these important activities, and that these activities help us in our professional career, to know more people, to have access to different kinds of important information, etc. So in this list, well, I update this list of to-do activities every day. I reprioritize it, all these tasks in the morning and in the and even in the night. Sometimes I update this list. I work in these activities the day by day. And one of the key things that I have related to this list is that I have it in the cloud, so I can have access to this list from my computer, from a tablet, or from my smartphone. From my smartphone, after I go to sleep, I can see this list and identify the things that I work in that day, and maybe planning the things that I'm going to do in the next day. The other thing that I use a lot is that I give time to myself. I have one thing in my mind that helps me a lot. When I achieve or when I complete some important activity or task, I give myself a prize. What kind of prize? What kind of prizes Arnulfo gives to himself? It can be something like eat some of my favorite food, see some movie or TV show, have a beer. I like a lot the beers, especially the cold ones, and I like a lot to play video games. So I'm pretty sure, Jocelyn, that after we complete this podcast, I'm going to grab my guitar, maybe a PlayStation, or maybe a beer, and you can do something, and you should do something similar too. I don't know about the beer, but do something, because we are making this important effort.
Yeah, absolutely. It's always important to reward yourself after you've been working hard. And for you to have a to-do list specifically just for ISACA, that just speaks itself on the commitment that you have for ISACA.
Yeah, I just realized that.
So you've been working with ISACA for quite a while. How long exactly have you been working with ISACA, and what got you first involved?
Yeah, I have been serving in ISACA as a volunteer since 50 years ago, and I had multiple roles since that time. I have served as a staff member. That was my first role. I was webmaster. Then I became a director of one certification, CISA particularly. Then I became director of all certifications in that time. Then I had the opportunity to be the vice president of our chapter. After that, I was named president of our chapter. In fact, I won one of the prizes of outstanding chapter leader in 2019. And I also have participated in different committees and task forces at the international level. And yeah, that can resume a lot of my career at ISACA.
Wow, you've worn a lot of hats at ISACA, and I will say that every role is always important, so thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you for joining us for the first part of my conversation with Arnulfo. Click the link in the description below to see part 2.